Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today's first topic might be a little all over the place because I did not plan to do this topic tonight. It's just something that came to me as I was getting ready to start filming tonight, and I wanted to cover it because it was something I had talked about in a live chat the other night. And it's a threat to our rights as citizens that I think a lot of people overlook. It's a strategy that is being utilized by the anti-gunners in this country to get around gun laws. And it's something they've been trying for a while now, and I don't think we pay enough attention to it. And it kind of has something to do with mask mandates. Now, I am in no way supporting mask mandates or anything like that. I believe that a person's health care, whether they get a vaccine or wear a mask or whatever, it's their business. Same thing with the vaccine mandates. This has got a lot to do with tying into those things because the states and the federal government now with the vaccine mandate, which is really just a way to take liability away from big companies who want vaccine mandates so they can get people back in the office so they can micromanage them. It shows that there are a lot of things the government can do when it comes to public health and public safety that I would consider unconstitutional, but has been upheld by the courts and the Supreme Court for a very long time. That is doing things like, quarantining people if they have a deadly disease. A lot of people might say, well, it's their right to not be held when they haven't committed a crime. Well, if it's for the public interest, courts have upheld time and time again, you can quarantine people. You can require kids to have vaccines to go to school. That's been upheld a lot of times. That's why when people ask me, like, what do you think about the vaccine and requirements and mandates, etc., I'm like, well, right now it's mainly just a cover for big business who wants to make people have to have them, but they don't want to have the liability in case something ever goes wrong with vaccines. But that's beside the point. That's not what I'm wanting to talk about today. The very fact that they can do them, and courts have found again and again that this is legal. I don't know if I would use the word constitutional, but they say it's legal. In fact, even George Washington quarantined towns when there were outbreaks of diseases that he didn't want spreading. And they did that. They violated the rights of a few because of the welfare of the many. And so it's been around for a long time doing things like this. Well, that exact reason right there is why so many people on the left or anti-gun people have been for years trying to get gun violence declared a health issue. They want the CDC involved. They want to call it a pandemic of gun violence. They want to say it's a public safety issue. They don't want to deal with the fact that most people don't have any risk of being a victim of a gun crime. It's very unlikely that will happen to you. Unless, of course, you're a drug runner, you're in a gang, or you marry a really crazy person and then ask for a divorce or something. If you don't do those things, you probably will never be the victim of gun violence in this country. But they don't want to deal with it on an individual thing based on individual choices. They want to make it a public health issue. They want to make it a public safety issue. And the reason they want to do that is because once they can say this is not just an individual act of a person with a tool against another person, this is a pandemic. It's a risk to the safety of the public, and therefore we get to violate the rights of a few to make the general welfare or the general public safer. Provide for the general welfare. That's why they want to do this, so that the CDC can step in and say, oh, gun violence is an epidemic and it's a public health issue because it's affecting so many people. So therefore, we're going to start violating people's rights, their Second Amendment rights. We're going to say you can't have guns because it's not safe for everybody else. This small number of people that are misusing firearms, they're dangerous to everyone around them, just like if they were a few unvaccinated people, and they're dangerous to people around them. They want to use that reasoning to violate the Constitution, to violate the Second Amendment. They want to be able to say it's for the public safety, it's for public health. That's why they commission CDC studies. That's why they want to have it investigated as, what are its effects on society, not on people in general. Because they want to be able to violate rights and have the courts uphold it. because the courts have upheld for a long time that the government can violate the rights of a few to protect the greater general welfare, and that's what they're aiming towards. That's why we need to fight that tooth and nail. We need to stop worrying about stupid stuff and fighting for one company's right to make a certain product and all this crap and devoting all this time and money to this. We need to be proactive and make sure that we stop the anti-gunners dead in their tracks when it comes to this whole desire to have gun violence declared a public safety and public health issue. Because once they successfully do that, well, then there's precedent after precedent after precedent that they can go after the few to protect the many. And they're going to say, well, it's just people buying handguns that are the problem, and that's a small portion of the society, so we violate their rights, but it makes everyone else safer. That's their whole goal. That's how these things link together. The same reasons they can get away with vaccine mandates and mask mandates, etc., is the same way they would get away with passing really strict gun restrictions if they could get it declared a public health issue. And a lot of people are letting that slip by them. I don't see a lot of national gun organizations or even state gun organizations taking this to heart, paying attention to this, because this is one of the most threatening things to our rights in this country right now. When they come after the Second Amendment, just to come after the Second Amendment because they don't like people being armed, they usually get slapped down in the courts eventually. If they can change the rules and they can change the way this is looked at and the direction they come at it from, not as an issue of we just don't want people having guns, but we're trying to protect the health and safety of the general population, and these things have been legally declared public health issues, well, then there'll be precedent to back them up. Precedent won't be against them then. Court decisions will be for them when they come at it from that aspect. Law is often perspective and vantage point and what direction you come at things from. Can you make a good argument that turns precedent to your favor for your outcome? And when they can change gun violence into a health issue, that, like I said, they've weaved a tapestry there where they can use the precedent of public health safety to demonize and restrict guns. So I just wish people would talk about this more and pay more attention to this. Instead of spending all of our time worrying about, oh no, my business wants me to get a shot and I'm going to refuse to do it, and even if they fire me, well then good, don't do it. It's your choice. I think it should be your choice anyway. Just like it's their choice to not hire people that aren't vaccinated. Private companies have every right, I think, to say, hey, are you vaccinated? And if you say no, they can say, okay, well then we would rather you not work here. I got no problem with that. That's not the same as the government saying everyone's getting vaccinated. It leaves you still with a choice. And a choice to not work for a private company that doesn't want you working for them. I'm okay with that. It's not violating your rights. It's not discriminating against you based on anything you can't change about yourself. Like it's not saying, I don't like the color of your skin. I don't like your sexuality. I don't like, any of these things. Doesn't even like religion, which is something you can change about yourself. Doesn't do any of that. You made a choice to not get a vaccine. They have a right to not hire you. And it's going to be like that, except the way that the government is able to get away with the things they're doing now, and I've kind of lost my train of thought here, because like I said, didn't prepare for this. So this is all just off the top of my head. The way the government gets to where they can do things like this is because it's for the betterment of everybody. It's promoting the general welfare, blah, 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 whatever you want to say. But like I say, I don't see enough of our people going after it. They're spending too much time worrying about mask mandates and vaccine mandates, which, like I was trying to say a second ago, if you don't agree with them, don't do them, because I think they should just be on local level and business level, private business, etc. I believe, and I got a lot of shit for this the other day for saying I think hospitals should be able to turn you away if you're not vaccinated. That's their private business. They're not discriminating against you on your color or your your religion or any of that things. They're discriminating against you because you're a risk to other people. How much of a risk we'll get into, and we'll say that for live chats, because everyone knows I'm like, if you don't get the vaccine, you're the one at risk. So if you go out into a crowd of people and you're carrying the disease, the only people you're going to make sick are most likely people that aren't vaccinated. People that are vaccinated, you're pretty safe. So I don't understand what the big hubbubaloo is, other than the fact that they're trying to protect our corporate for-profit medical system in this country, because they know that this virus has come near to destroying the system. And if it gets too bad, people are going to start going, we need to think of a better way to do healthcare in this country. And I don't want that happening. So that's most of what this is all about, like takes it back to big business and profits. But like I was saying, instead of worrying about things like this, we can choose to be part of it or not, and start worrying about things like them having gun violence declared a public health issue, them succeeding in getting the CDC involved in gun violence. People who die from guns. That's not a disease. That's not something someone couldn't defend against. It's not something someone did unintentionally. Like, I've never known very many people to spread disease on purpose. I mean, I'm sure people have given some people AIDS and stuff on purpose. I know that, but it's not an epidemic, and it's not a big issue. It's not an issue that requires special action. Gun violence is very much a personal choice. Someone chooses to misuse a tool. And usually the person that it gets misused on, most of the time, well, they either do it to themselves, suicide, or it's someone who probably shouldn't have been involved in what they were involved in. Like I said, drugs and violence and gang violence. So it's got nothing to do with public health. It's got nothing to do with being a health issue, but they want to declare it that, like I said, so that they can regulate it. So I would like to see more people, after I've rambled here and said next to nothing. Like, I should really think more about these things before I start talking about them. But I think I've made my point. Like I say, the same court precedents that make it to where the government can do mask mandates, can do vaccine mandates, can do quarantines, etc., and get away with it, even if you and I might think it unconstitutional, which I think it should be unconstitutional. But unfortunately, the law and the legal system is not backing me up, and I don't think I'm the world's greatest scholar, so I can't go and, force my opinion on them. And I don't have the power to anyway. If I had the power to, maybe I would. But like I said, the same way they get away with that is the way they want to be able to treat guns. They want to be able to say it's a public health issue, and therefore we're going to take unilateral action. And yeah, it's going to violate the rights of some people, but it'll be better for everybody in the long run. As if people that are victimizing other people aren't going to do it if they don't have guns. Like, they're going to save so many lives. People have been killing people since they figured out how to pick up a rock. I don't think getting rid of guns is going to stop people from killing each other, especially not crimes of passion, and especially not people who jump people and rob them. It's not going to stop just because they take away guns. What they're really trying to do is just disarm the population, so we have to be more complacent and just do what we're told. That's the main goal. But they want to have that power. They want to be able to say, public health issue, dude. We can do what we want. So let's start paying a little more attention to that. Let's stop paying attention to things that don't matter when we're ignoring other things. When we start dealing with all the real issues in the gun community and in our country that actually affect our rights, instead of making big political issues out of nothing, take the vaccine, don't take the vaccine. You're putting your own life at risk. But when they start taking guns away from everybody, that's everybody who's at risk. Because once the government doesn't fear the people anymore, well, they can do whatever they want. And if we allow them to succeed in their efforts that they've been trying very hard to do over the last couple decades of declaring gun violence and gun deaths a public health issue, well, then we will have a real uphill battle in this country when it comes to maintaining our rights and our freedom. All right, everybody. I rambled a very long time there. Way too long, actually, for what I was trying to say. And I'm not even sure I said it, to be honest. I think I said it. In fact, I might have said it 8 or 9 times. But I don't know if I said it in an effective way or got my point across. But I guess I'll know once I see the comments on this video. For one, I want y'all to take it easy on me if I've seemed a little rambling and out of it. I ate some pizza today that I thought my son had put in the oven late last night. So I thought it had just been in there overnight, and I ate it this morning. Because I asked him, when does pizza get put in the oven? When I went to lunch with friends. And that was yesterday, and he came home and he had pizza. Well, he didn't mean when he went down and met friends for lunch. He meant when he'd had lunch with his friends at school on on Friday. So that pizza that I ate on Monday morning had been in the oven since Friday. And I'm not feeling so good. My insides have been liquefying and coming, and that's probably more than you need to know. But go easy on me a little bit. If I'm a little rambling, I think I'm dehydrated, for one. But like I say, probably more information than you need to know. But watch that first part of the video with that in mind, that I'm probably a little ill and very dehydrated. I'm definitely a little ill. I'm probably very dehydrated. I've been chugging bottles of water, and it don't seem to be helping much. But with that being said, since I did take so much time there talking, I just took up even more. I'm going to go ahead and go to the end of the show today with our viewer EDC of the day. And today we have Charles C. I believe that's right. Charles C. Hopefully I can read that. I don't know if I can read my own writing here. But yes, Charles C. And he is carrying his Kimber K6S 3-inch. The 3-inch Kimber double action only revolver. He's carrying it in the Kimber holster from their website. He's got the 3-finger grips from the Kimber site. He's got the speed loader from Kimber. He's all set to go. He is clearly a Kimber fanboy. He's even got extra rounds in a belt pouch there. He's just all set up here to go. I wish they made that grip for the double action single action model, but for now they only make that 3-finger grip for the double action only model, which sucks because I would love to have that for the double action single action models, the K6S double action single action. But that aside, his setup, really nice. I think the K6S is an awesome gun, and I love the way he's got it here. He's a skinny bitch, but he looks like he might have a butt. But he definitely looks like he's prepared here. Of course, he also looks like he just came back from buying new school clothes with his mommy at Kmart, with his Wrangler jeans and his tucked-in shirt. But other than that, looks prepared. So I wanted to just show him today. That is our viewer EDC of the day. What was his name? Charles C. I know his screen name in the chat more than I know his actual name. I don't know most of you people by your actual names. I know you by your name in the chat. Just like how most people call me Yankee. Almost nobody in the world calls me David. Just a few, like a small number of people. More people call me Marty or Marshall. More people call me Marshall than David, and more people call me Marty than Marshall. But most people call me Yankee, and that's kind of the way I know you all by your screen names. And once again, I'm babbling because, like I said, sick, dehydrated. But I wasn't going to not do a video. I considered it. I considered going to bed, but doing a video, and I think we can all see now, I should have just gone to bed because this is really off the rails. But like I said, wanted to show him Charles C. with his K6S 3-inch, and he is our viewer EDC of the day. All right, everybody, I want to put a bullet in this one here and put it out of its misery. Believe me, that's not a violent act in this case. This is definitely a mercy killing in this video. But I want to sign off as usual by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, you know, it is what it is. It could be a lot worse, but it could be better. But if we as a community start ignoring the fear mongers, the profiteers, the fake activists, the people who just want to, stoke the fires and keep the fight going so they can continue to manipulate people and profit off of it, if we start to ignore those people and fight smart and hard for our rights in this country, what things will be in the very near future for people who believe in the Second Amendment and freedom in general is better.